Please be seated. Driving home just past midnight last night, Christmas morning, no one is out. No one is out in the cold. No one is at Walmart. No one is at McDonald's. No one exists except for me. At least that's what it seems like in the eyes of one glancing over my steering wheel with a warm bed and a hot meal close at hand. That is, after all, the only thing I can think about after a full day of work yesterday. After the buzz of people and the worship, getting home to my cozy house and eating a relaxing hot meal and having one delicious beverage, perhaps, I saw no one on the drive home. But if you looked close enough, you could see no one. You could see them working the 24-hour Walmart shifts. You could see no one at late-night gas stations or fast food restaurants. And if I'd stopped just long enough, I could probably catch a glimpse of no one working behind the desk at the lobby in our local Holiday Inn. Now, of course, none of these people are actually no ones. They all have desires. They are sacred creations of God. They are fearfully and wonderfully made. And yet, in our society, we have deemed them as no one because we assign little value to their time. And that's how we determine who is valuable in our society. We give them the least of these types of jobs, the types of jobs where you work on Christmas. No one works Christmas night. The no ones stay in homeless camps during dangerously low temperatures for fear that their belongings will be stolen. Last night and this morning, we hear more about no ones. But we heard about no ones from a different culture and another time. Shepherds have been well established as low-wage laborers of Jesus' time, and were definitely not of high esteem. Yet it is these no ones that are the people that Jesus comes to dwell among first in his life. So it is only natural for us to come to the conclusion that God purposefully draws these nobodies to God's self, particularly in the person of Jesus. And as if it were not enough that Jesus was brought into the world through a transient family, the divine shows up among the lowliest of people, making the least wages considered the lowliest of society. Now, I grew up in a lovely PCUSA church. It was First Presbyterian in Athens, Georgia. And our senior minister was Dr. Doak. And Dr. Doak was a very good man. I can see that now. But I was around Dr. Doak from the very formative ages of 8 to 24. And let's just say that I loved church so much. I loved it so much that I asked a great deal of our ordained and lay youth leaders. And I was inquisitive, and you might even say I was a little difficult. And one of the things that I would be difficult about, and my brother too, for the record, was how repetitive Dr. Doak was. And now, though, doing what I'm doing, I understand why Dr. Doak was so repetitive, but I don't think he realized how deeply I was, or perhaps any of our youth, were really listening to what he was saying. At the very end of every single Christmas sermon I ever can remember Dr. Doak preaching he ended it with, "Startle us, O Lord." And of course, then all I can remember from that point on was my brother and I always whispering in the balcony to each other, "Startle us." Who is startled? Are you startled? We were a little snarky, to say the least. After 10 plus years of hearing "Startle us, O Lord," you begin to think, like, does he have any more tricks up his sleeve? Now, this Christmas is not the first Christmas that I've come to realize that Dr. Doak was praying for something deeply wonderful and monumental to happen in each of our lives when he talked about being startled. But it was the first Christmas this year that I actually felt startled. When I think of the people that Jesus first spent time with here in this world, especially last night when I was driving around, I catch my breath a little. I'm startled that God came into the world to be with not just us here sitting in this room, but chiefly God came into the world to be with our no ones first. There's this preference for our no ones that God shows by where God shows up in Jesus first. Showing up to the ones just getting by, the lowliest. God came to them first. And I'm startled. I'm startled because I'm not a wage laborer, and I don't seek out company of wage laborers often. But I'm startled that God came to not just be with the people who are the lowliest. We hear in the psalm that God came to be with our lowly earth, that we cut away at, that we hack into pieces. God came to her. We sing about it, joy to the world. God brings redemption to all creation. God came to the sea and the fish and the whales, all animals, to proclaim a different way of being. God came to the trees and the wood that they may shout for joy to all the plants and the mushrooms and the worms. That is startling. It makes God come to life a little bit more, too, for me. So Jesus has come to save humans and the rest of creation, but Jesus has come in a very specific way, a way that actually is startling. Should we look at how Jesus comes? If God comes to the lowliest, then let us draw near to them, to it, to our creation, to the creatures, to the natural environment, to those wage laborers, that we might see Jesus alive and dwelling with them. May we be continually startled by coming face to face with a love, a redemption, grace, justice, and peace in the most unexpected places, starting with a place that is very unexpected. And I hope that it inspires us to give thanks to God for continuing to draw near to Jesus as he comes to us season after season in unexpected places.